The lights dimmed inside Madison Square Garden, and silence spread like smoke before the storm. Then, the roars. Thousands of fans rose as Gennady Golovkin made his entrance, walking slow, head down, gloves red as blood. There was no showmanship, no smile, just that cold, methodical calm of a man who's come to finish business. Across the arena, Daniel "Miracle Man" Jacobs stood tall in the shadows of the tunnel. The American contender, written off by many, was walking into the lion's den, but behind his calm stare was something fierce, something personal. Jacobs had faced death before, literally, and survived. Tonight he wasn't fighting for fame. He was fighting to prove destiny wrong. The bell rang. Round 1. Both men circled, cautious, reading, testing. Golovkin's jab, piston-like, perfect, kept Jacobs on edge. But Jacobs wasn't backing down. He fired right back, each punch echoing with defiance. The air crackled with tension. Every jab, every feint was a coded message. GGG was the hunter, patient and cold. Jacobs, the survivor, was ready to endure whatever came. Midway through the round, Golovkin landed a clean right hand that sent Jacobs stumbling back. The crowd exploded, but Jacobs didn't fall. He smiled. That single grin changed everything. This wasn't going to be an easy hunt. It was going to be a war of wills. And as the round ended, the camera caught Golovkin's expression. No celebration, no arrogance, just calculation. He had felt Jacobs' resolve, and for the first time in a long time, Gennady Golovkin knew this fight might go deeper than pain. The stage was set. The storm was coming. Round 2 opened like a slow drumbeat, heavy with tension, soaked in strategy. Gennady Golovkin moved forward like a machine programmed for destruction. His footwork was steady, his jab snapping with surgical precision. He didn't waste punches. He didn't need to. Each move was deliberate, mechanical, ruthless. But Daniel Jacobs was no ordinary prey. He didn't crumble. He adapted. With every jab that found his face, he learned something. He started slipping, pivoting, moving just outside the pocket, forcing GGG to chase. That subtle change began to shift the tone. The crowd could feel it. Golovkin's usual dominance wasn't automatic here. Jacobs was patient, fighting with intelligence and heart. He jabbed back, using range and rhythm to disrupt the Kazakh's timing. Every punch from Jacobs said the same thing. "I'm not afraid of you." Midway through round 3, Golovkin cornered him. The crowd rose as he unleashed a savage combination. Left hook, right uppercut, straight cross. One of those punches landed clean and Jacobs went down. The roar was deafening, but what happened next silenced everyone. Jacobs got up instantly, calm, eyes clear, no panic. He looked right at Golovkin and smiled. That moment flipped the entire narrative. Golovkin, known for breaking men's spirits, had just met one who refused to break. Jacobs began moving forward. The hunter had become the hunted. By the end of round 4, Triple G's corner looked surprised. For the first time in years, someone wasn't folding. And deep in his mind, Golovkin realized this wouldn't be a knockout. This would be a battle of souls. Middle rounds turned into psychological warfare. Golovkin advanced like a storm, unrelenting, throwing punches with bad intentions. But Jacobs, calm, calculating, fought back with fire and finesse. He switched stances mid-round, confusing GGG's rhythm. Orthodox to southpaw, back to orthodox. Each shift made Golovkin hesitate just long enough for Jacobs to land something clean. His jab started piercing GGG's guard, and for the first time in years, Golovkin bled from his nose. The crowd roared in disbelief. Jacobs was fighting the perfect fight. Fast feet, slick counters, raw courage. But Golovkin, he thrived in chaos. Every punch Jacobs landed only fueled the Kazakh's fury. He walked through shots like stone, his face cold, eyes burning. By round 7, he trapped Jacobs again and unleashed hell. Uppercuts to the chin, hooks to the ribs. Each punch echoed through the arena like cannon fire. Jacobs absorbed them, But his movement slowed, his breathing deepened, the pain was catching up. Still, he refused to fold. The Miracle Man lived up to his name. He survived the onslaught, slipping just enough to avoid the final blow. When the bell rang, both men glared across the ring, chests heaving, sweat and blood mixing under the lights. There was no fear, only respect, and something darker. This was no longer just boxing. It was a test of humanity itself. The fans could feel it. Every round felt like it could end everything. The question now wasn't who was better. It was who would break first. Rounds 8 through 10 were pure grit. Both fighters had abandoned caution. Golovkin's punches thundered with intent, every shot thrown to end the fight. Jacobs countered with a defiant rhythm, weaving through danger, throwing sharp right hooks that caught GGG off balance. The crowd screamed with every exchange. The ring was no longer a chessboard. It was a battlefield. Sweat sprayed through the air like mist under the arena lights. Every punch had meaning. Every second stretched into eternity. Jacob's corner yelled for him to keep moving. Don't trade with him. But pride had taken over. He wanted to stand his ground. He wanted the world to see he could face the monster head-on. Golovkin smiled through the blood. It was the grin of a man who respected pain. He jabbed again and again, cutting through Jacob's defense until he found an opening. Then came the right hand. Brutal, short, merciless. Jacob staggered, but didn't go down. The audience rose to its feet. No one expected this kind of war. Both men looked exhausted, battered, and yet alive. As the 10th round ended, the camera caught GGG staring at Jacobs in disbelief. His opponent wasn't broken. Jacobs had not only survived, he'd earned Golovkin's respect. And everyone watching knew. The last 2 rounds would decide everything. Round 11 began under a deafening roar. Both men knew there was no turning back. Golovkin moved first, precise and relentless, his punches heavy and purposeful. Jacobs answered every shot with a counter. The crowd could barely breathe. Every moment felt like history being written in real time. Golovkin's power still had danger, but Jacobs' resilience was something unexplainable, like a man fighting beyond his limits. In the 12th and final round, they met at the center. No running, no hiding, no defense left. They traded blows like warriors in the last moments of a forgotten war. Golovkin landed one last overhand right that rocked Jacobs to the core. The American stumbled, but refused to fall. He fired back, 2 hooks, a straight. The bell rang mid-exchange. The sound didn't stop them. They were still swinging when the referee stepped in. The crowd went wild, half cheering, half stunned. When the scorecards were read, Golovkin's hand rose. Unanimous decision. But the reaction wasn't of victory. It was of awe. Jacob stood tall, beaten but unbroken. The Miracle Man had done what few ever could. He survived 12 rounds with the most feared puncher on earth and never once backed down. Golovkin, respectful, nodded and embraced him. Both men knew they'd given something far beyond a fight. They'd given a story of heart, pain, and immortality. As the lights dimmed, the echoes of the crowd lingered. Because some battles end with a knockout, and some become legends forever.